Welcome to Your Story Matters. My name is Linda Olson. I'm the founder of Wealth Through Stories and Your Story Matters Masterclass. I'm so excited to introduce our next expert, JeriShannon. Jerry is a dynamic personality and motivational speaker, author, business owner for nonprofit and community leader of various sectors of the community. Jeri energizes people to meet the challenges of the world around them. She skillfully weaves her compelling life story into the reality of our daily lives. Jeri's straight from the heart, passion, and high energy motivates audiences to step beyond their limitations and into their destiny in many ways. Jeri is committed to motivating and training today's generation to be achievers and leaders as she introduces new audiences every day to push past their obstacles and reach for their true destiny. Jeri, welcome to Your Story Matters.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor for us to have you. I had the opportunity of meeting Jeri just last year, and I knew immediately she was someone I wanted to get to know. I'm sure you'll feel the same way. So, Jeri, I know you have a compelling life story. Why don't you share with our listeners about that story?
Well, I'm just a little Southern country girl from Florida that was raised up just like normal people, like everyone else. And my story is a story that, to me, that's like a dream come true, because when I moved here to California, and God just spoke to my heart and said, "Come." I was like, "Oh my God, you mean you want me to come here to this large city and know no one?" So, of course, I did. And my story is that God walked me through the whole process, and the doors just begin to open. So, my story is sharing the love of God and finding out that He can give you direction in every path. Yes.
Okay, very good. So I know in every story, of course, as part of the transition are also pain points.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about one or two pain points that there were for you?
Yes, I can. When it comes to like my decision to start doing what I do now, it was a decision of my purpose. I was, how you felt like you just existing.
Hmm.
And to me, I felt like I was just existing. And to the point where even though everything was good in my life, I wasn't happy with my life.
Hmm.
you know so it was a point of me just totally kind of like just making a decision to say, Jeri, you need to begin to do what you're called to do. So I guess you could say my pain point was realizing that there was more for me. And I said, and I felt that there was more for me. So I just began to follow the lead of God and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
So that was just really coming to a decision in your life to
Uh-huh.
realizing that there had to be more.
Yes, it had to be more. Had to be. And so I had to just say, okay, Jeri, what are you going to do to change the situation? And I know so many times we say, oh, I'm waiting on God, I'm waiting on God. And God's like, I'm waiting on you. So I had to make a decision to make myself happy. And like I say, everything to me, I felt like that even though we own other businesses and finances was coming in, and as you know, Linda, it's not all about money, even though money is nice, okay? It's not all about money, but I had to make a decision to say, okay, Jeri, this is the life that God has called you in. So what are you going to do about it?
So it started with a decision, and then
Uh-huh.
we know it's all about the journey. So can you take us into a few steps of that journey of, what happened next?
Well, what happened next is, of course, like I said, I made that decision, but of course, there were steps that I had to take to get to that decision and to get to where I am today. And that was, of course, being that I am a minister, I started as a minister, right? And I began to do public speaking, and all of a sudden, I said, you know what? I know God has called me for other things like motivational speaking, writing the book, the whole things. And you have to do the work. You have to just get out and say, okay, I need to meet more people. And just like, of course, I met you last year. And I just decided to get out and begin to say, okay, this is what I'm called to do. So I had to just walk out and say, I'm going to start meeting more people. I'm going to start writing this book, and start meeting the right people that can help me get to my destination.
Okay, those are some very good tips that that we all need to face. And as we start walking that journey, I know that there are often setbacks and roadblocks that come along. How did you move past those?
Oh, prayer. I would say prayer and a determination, because I would say, like, every time I decide, and I'll share this story because I did a talk show also, kind of like a web series, and it seems like every time I stepped into that role of being that producer of that talk show, all kinds of blocks came in the way, and money came in the way. Like, oh, you just don't have enough money to do this, Jerry. Why don't you just quit? But I had to look past all of that. I had to look past it. I didn't have experienced camera operators. I had to look past it. I didn't even know how to edit, because there was a time where the person that was supposed to edit didn't edit, so I had to learn how to edit. So I had to look past all of that and say, okay, Jerry, if I have to learn this myself, if I have to go to YouTube or take a class or whatever I need to do to get this story out, I was willing to be educated and learn what I need to learn to get to that next level and to produce whatever I had in my heart to do.
Very good. So really, the big thing is one, just knowing that you are called to do this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I am so convinced that when you are convinced, see, I can tell you that, okay, yes, I'm a speaker. Yes, I am a motivational speaker. I am a producer. I can tell you all of this. But until you are convinced that you're called to do whatever you're called to do, you won't move, and you have to be persuaded in your own mind and in your own heart.
Very good. So, what do you see long term for you? What are some of your dreams? What would you like to accomplish?
Well, Linda, I thought about that, and my main focus, even today, is to help as many people as I can to become their best self.
Hmm.
And if I can do that, I have accomplished my goals. Because there's a saying by um, Zig Ziglar. He said this. He said, if I help you get what you want, I will automatically get what I want. And so that is my desire, is to help as many people as I possibly can to reach their goals and to be their best self.
Very good. And that is a great quote. I absolutely love it. So, how do you use your story in your speaking and everything that you do?
Well, because I am a minister of the gospel, I always share my story about my move and how I share it. And of course, a lot of people don't have the faith that I have, and I understand that. But I share this story because it's my life, and I live it daily. So when I live something daily, I'm able to express it with passion, and so where people can understand that this is something that I live. So it helps me in a way that I be able to share that where people can understand that, you know what? I'm nobody special. I'm not this great, as they call it, you know, person that got all my T's crossed and all my I's dotted. But I am a person of faith that I'll be able to share this story, and that it will reach someone. You know, when I'm in a room and I'm sharing my story, it doesn't matter if the whole room don't get it. It really doesn't. But if I can reach one or two with this story, that's all that matters.
Well, and what you don't know, of course, is when it impacts one or two lives, how many more lives will they impact with
Exactly.
that story? And then, you know, it's that whole ripple effect.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
very well said. As you're focused in helping others, as you're using your story, there's something about sharing our story. Our story is clearly our foundation. I mean, that to me, it's like a gold mine.
Yes.
And when we own our story and claim that story and then share it one way or another, that doesn't mean we have to share the whole story, but just maybe just a little nugget here and a nugget there. It really reinforces and reminds us of where we've come from and who we are, doesn't it?
It really reminds us that, you know, if I can get through the hurdles and the challenges and the troubles of this world, and if I can get through it, I know that you can get through it, because it's just the way life is. You know, we sometimes we look upon a person and we say, oh, they look like they don't have any trouble, and they don't have any pain. They just look like everything in their life is going just perfect. And that's so untrue, you know. And so we have to, that's why we tell our story, because somebody else is going through the same thing, you know. And like I always say, I try to be transparent even with my life and even as a minister, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, you look like you don't have anything going on, and you don't know, you know, until you share what's really going on in your life. No one really knows that you've been through what you've been through, and you have the same type of challenges that everyone else has.
Exactly. And it's through that sharing, through story, that we connect
Mm,
other people. Now, obviously, you know, we have to choose what parts of our story are appropriate at what time or who really needs to hear it.
yes.
Because at that point, it's not about us, it's about them and it's about the pain that they are going through. But it is amazing when we're willing to be vulnerable, what that will do with other people. It really gives them permission to be vulnerable as well.
Yes. You know, and when you said that, I was reminded of something even just happened last Sunday, because I spoke at our church and I began to share a story about my daughter and the challenges that I had with her and that I'm still actually having with her. But interesting enough, after service, three women came up to me, and I noticed when I was speaking they was crying, but I didn't realize what an impact it had on them, because they was going through the same challenge. And they thank me for even sharing that story. And they say most people wouldn't tell that. I said, you know, and that's why I try to be transparent, even in anything that I do and anything I say. And like you say, you live to tell a story at the certain time. And when you tell that story, it's really for somebody else that's out there in the audience, for them to know that, wow, if you've been through it, and you can stand and smile and say, you know what, I'm okay. And then I know this what I'm feeling right now, that I'm gonna be okay also. Yes.
Very good. Well, Jerry, you've given us a number of wonderful insights and golden nuggets. Do you have any other particular golden nugget you want to share with our listeners today?
I would say this, and I would say this only because I'm a Southern girl, okay?
Okay.
I, I would say this: be yourself. You know, be yourself in everything that you do, and never give up. Because what the enemy wants to do is have you to give up. You know, and he'll bring those hurdles and those challenges in front of you for you to say, "Oh, forget it. It's never going to happen." So, my nugget to you is to be yourself and never give up.
Wonderful. That's a wonderful note for each one. So I know that you have a wonderful gift for our listeners today. Tell us about that.
It's a book. It will be an ebook, and actually, it's in the process of. It will be on my website at JeriShannon.com. But it's an ebook, and the name of the book is "Me Love You," and it's a love story that I have with the Father, and I would like to share it with you. It's my story.
Oh, thank you. That's a wonderful gift. And again, another author. Congratulations.
Thank you.
As I know, that's been a recent success for you. And to me, it's always a sign of growth, certainly of growth, stepping into new areas. But
Yes.
it's also just another way to share a story. And I hope our listeners will consider that as well, because everyone has a story, and there are many people that need to hear your story. So,
Yes.
Jeri, thank you for joining us today and giving us some wonderful nuggets that you have learned throughout your journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Linda.
You're very welcome, and we want to thank our listeners as well for joining us today, taking the time out of your busy schedule. We're so happy to have you, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.